was the wake up. I needed to make a big change, and with time and perspective, because I mean, I was having a quarter life crisis. It was ugly. But with that space, like you said, to be able to reflect on it, being outside of that for a few years, it is the best thing that's ever happened to me for sure.
Y'all, today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun. You are made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
Welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today's show is going to be so good, and partly because of our amazing sponsor, Wilbron. Wilbron is Alabama's premier public relations firm. If y'all have any PR needs, be sure to hit them up at www.wilbron.com. Now, let me tell you about our guest. Our guest is Anna VanAgtmael. She is the founder of Wandering Roots, and she hosts adventure retreats for women all over the world. And she helps entrepreneurs plan and host their own profitable retreats. Y'all, put your hands together for Anna VanAgtmael. Hey, Anna.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you. I am so excited to learn more about you and these amazing retreats that you do. So when you are thinking about, and I'm just going to dive right in.
That's fine.
Because, you hear about people putting on retreats and you wonder, what makes one retreat better than another? And so maybe if you start by telling us how your journey got started, we can dive a little bit deeper into that.
Sure. So I'll give you the Cliff Notes. I had a 13-year career in laboratory medicine and molecular diagnostics. I was a lab manager for 7 of those 13 years. And I, in that time, was given an opportunity to be an entrepreneur with no financial risk. I was the first employee hired by the execs, built the lab, hired the staff, managed the inventory, bought the equipment, things like that. And I also had neck surgery. I was in 2 bad car accidents as a kid and was in a neck brace for 4 months. And these 2 things collided at a time where I realized I had the most success, more success than I ever thought I would. And also I was severely bored. I had a lot of shame for being ungrateful for that and not enjoying it more. But I was 28 and I thought, there has to be more to life than this. Like I realized this is it. You get one life and I want to be jazzed about it. So I took yoga teacher training because I sort of got into yoga to not be a pain clinic frequent flyer. And that was the first time I had ever been in a situation with 11 strangers, just loving and supporting each other for who they were, not who they were trying to be. And I thought I could create that type of environment with my love of travel and start teaching yoga because I had this new certification and host retreats.
Wow. So it was pretty much the yoga then that led you to creating the retreats.
Totally. Yeah. It was, I don't know if you practice, but I got into it for PT and physical reasons. But the longer I practice, the more I realize all the mental health benefits and really spending that much time with your thoughts will bring to light some things. And I wanted to make some big changes.
Right. Yes, I have tried it. As I've gotten older, I don't try it as much.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun for everybody. It comes in multiple different forms too. If you've ever done a yoga nidra, you just lay on the floor. I think that's accessible to most people. Getting up is the hardest part of that, right?
Right? Exactly. You get down there and then it's like, oh wait, I gotta
Yeah.
get back.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah. So was there one particular thing? I know you said you got to the place where you were in pain and so you were doing yoga almost as like pain management. Would you say that that was the 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 starting point of reinventing yourself?
I actually think when I was in the neck brace before I found yoga, it was the first pause in my entire life. And I had realized I had never considered what I wanted. I was just very practical. I was just doing the things, going through the motions of life. And that was like a huge wake up of like, you get to choose. You don't have to just go through the motions of, and most of the expectations of, going to school, going to college, getting a degree and climbing the ladder, they were mostly self-imposed on me. My parents were pretty practical, but they were never like super rigid about that either. So I just pursued a career that I thought there would be a lot of jobs, and I was good at math and science, and I was just terribly bored by it. And when I was in that neck brace, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't drive. It was very humbling, especially at that age. And so really, I just had time at home to sit and think about my life. So that was
Right.
more of the moment.
Got you. Well, and as you know how you can look back on certain situations and how on the outside looking in, and even in that moment, you might think, oh, this is the worst ever. This is just the
Yeah.
absolute worst. But then
Yeah.
when you think back, you're like, maybe that wasn't the absolute worst. Maybe that
Yeah.
was the best part of my life because it gave me that time to stop and be still and think
Totally.
about what the future is going to look like. Whereas before, if this hadn't happened, I'd be still, being this little rabbit in a hamster in a hamster wheel going through the motions.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I honestly, it was the wake up I needed to make a big change, and with time and perspective, because I mean, I was having a quarter life crisis. It was ugly. But with that space, like you said, to be able to reflect on it, being outside of that for a few years, it is the best thing that's ever happened to me for sure.
Right, right. So there's a way that things that seem bad in the moment end up
Yeah.
working out for our good. And so
Yeah.
as you were overcoming these challenges and discovering yourself, what advice do you have for women who are facing obstacles to change?
So I always like to say, keep going. I think it's the difference between the people that do and the people that don't. It's just being willing to try and then continuing to move forward when it doesn't work out the way you wanted it to. You just got to pick yourself up and you keep moving small steps forward. That is, some people just live a comfortable life in a mild state of fear to make a change. And I think if you just keep going and keep trying, that's the difference. Getting out of that
Right. So
comfort
kind
zone.
of comfort zone. That's where I was going. So get people in your retreats. Have you met women like that who are like
Oh yeah.
afraid of change and
Totally. I mean, I think you attract sort of like as an entrepreneur, you're usually sharing something you either didn't have access to or something that changed your life. And so you're attracting sort of the clients that aren't yet going through that, right? You're trying to help them. And I'm trying to help them pursue a life that they love and create a life that they love. So we do get a lot of women in that same space that I was years ago of some don't even know what they want. And I didn't either. I just didn't know. And yeah, a lot of fear and how much their life could change, the comfort of having income coming in constantly at a job that you can kind of do with your eyes closed, provides what your family is used to, right? So there is a way to do it without financial ruin. I believe I side hustled Wandering Roots for 2 years before I quit my corporate job, but I still think there's a lot of reward and big risk as well. People forget that. So
yes, agreed, 100%. When we started Executive Help Now, it was a side hustle as well to my corporate job. And, I'd work there during the day and then come home and work on the business at night. And and then, like you said, you have to step outside your comfort zone and you have to do what you've never done if you want to get something you've never gotten. So
100%. Yeah.
that was kind of my philosophy. And there was just something so much more. Like you said, we all have gifts and skills and talents and a purpose here. And so if we're playing it safe or playing small by doing the things that we've always done, but we really do have these goals and aspirations for something more, well, how do we get to more? You can't keep doing what you're doing.
No, you have to make a change. You got to do the scary thing. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So what are some common challenges that women face in their reinvention journeys? I know we talked about not being able to, or being a little bit afraid to step outside of their comfort zones. How do you get them past that? Do the retreats help with that?
Yeah, I always say choose your own adventure. I believe wellness looks different for every person, and it looks different for me on a day-to-day basis. But that starts to create awareness of what you want. So things that are on the itinerary, I like to say, are suggestions. But like, do you need a nap instead of going hiking with everybody else? If your body's tired and needs rest, that's a good way to check in with yourself. And then we do journal prompts, getting them to be reflective of what is something you could take from this experience and incorporate it into your daily life at home. They don't have to be these huge things. Maybe getting up earlier and having 30 minutes to yourself to actually sit with your thoughts, or even just in the stillness before you wear all of the hats that you wear and start to tackle your decision fatigue every day, because we have so many, roles and responsibilities as women. And another part of that is, I have a lot of people at the end of the week say they've never felt that taken care of. And I think that also helps promote a frame of mind to show up and be selfish and ask for things out of your life. You don't have to put yourself last. You don't have to take care of everybody else and make sure they're all happy and joy-filled without even considering that for yourself.
Right. Oh, that is so good. It's like their own time of pampering and self-care, like putting themselves first and being catered to. I mean, how many women would love to be catered to instead of being the one doing all the catering and all the nurturing and all of the, being the everything to everyone, and swapping that role to being the one being cared for. So that is so good. I mean, I think every woman needs to have that experience at least one time in their life. If not every other month.
I think every other month is perfect. Yeah, I'm with you.
So then, Anna, as we're thinking about what this could really look like for us as business owners, as busy women, the boss trying to do it all, what practical steps can someone take to begin their reinvention?
So the thing that sort of, because again, I had that moment of I wanted to change, but I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what that would look like. I started to think about what I wanted every day to look like. And that was way more flexibility and freedom, which I get as an entrepreneur. I'm on my own time. I'm not on anyone else's schedule. But I read Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes shortly after. I think I was still in my neck brace. And she committed to saying yes to everything that she immediately, her gut reaction was to say no. And so it was those things of pushing herself out of her comfort zone over and over. So anything that intrigued me, but also terrified me, I kept saying yes and doing it. And that also, one of those things was yoga. I was afraid to go to a studio. I'd never tried it before and looking dumb and like whatever. And that's so stupid because everybody's a beginner once. Everybody has their first class. The person that can do a handstand had a class that was her first class and didn't know what she was doing. Just as a yoga teacher, just a reminder, no one cares what's happening on your mat. They're so focused on what's going on their own mat. They don't even know you're in the room. Doesn't matter.
So true. That is so true. Because we all have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, no one's an expert at everything immediately.
No.
I mean, that's
and especially Right. And as an entrepreneur, how many new skills have you learned? Like I always tell people, it takes most of my time to do the thing that you wouldn't even do, things that you've never even thought of or considered, like all of
Right.
the different things that run a business, like bookkeeping, social media, marketing, sales, website management. And I
Mhm.
think the longer you are in any role, the more you know, if you did give it a try and you think that it's not going to produce the results you want, it's going to take somebody way less time to do a really better job, then sometimes it's asking for help is the gateway to living your best life, and it makes more sense to hire someone, right? You don't have to do everything by yourself. But
That's right. 100%. We actually had a client who was an entrepreneur running a very successful business, but she was doing all the things. She was in a technology business offering tech services, but she was doing all her own payroll, all her own website stuff, all her own social media stuff, all her own, other things that were not technology. And
yeah,
so she reached out to us at Executive Help Now and said she was willing to give it a try and let go of some things, because some people actually discover that they have a problem letting go of some things
yes,
when they get an opportunity to let go of some stuff. And so, anyways, we worked through it together. And when we got back together, after our first assignment, she said, I cannot believe I've been doing everything by myself for so long. I just cannot. And I was like, I'm so sorry. We've been here and we're going to be here and we're with you through the
yeah,
duration. And so,
yeah,
anyway, so yeah, totally get that. That makes perfect sense that, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you don't have to do all the things. You
no,
just absolutely do not. And you shouldn't.
no, you shouldn't. No, it's
And
a
I love how
really
you
like,
said,
go
I'm sorry,
ahead.
I was just going to say, I love how you said that when you don't do all of the things, that is a part of your own self-care.
Yes, it is. 100% is. Freeing up your
Yeah.
time, and then also it gets you out of the wrong mindset if you're like kind of like in that lack, like, ooh, I got to do everything, it's always going to be hard. That's not a good place to live. You got to get out of that cycle.
Absolutely. So then, as we get ready to close out, I know this time has just gone so fast. Can you tell us a little bit more about your upcoming retreats? Like, when is the next one? Where is it? I know that there's some domestic retreats, some international retreats. Tell us all about these retreats.
Sure. Next year we're actually only going international for 7 days to Belize, Iceland, and the Italian Dolomites. Italian Dolomites is sold out in October. Iceland, we, for the last 3 years, have hosted over Mother's Day because we have a lot of repeat guests that don't want to dress up and take their kids to brunch. They want to go be taken care of and have a true relaxing Mother's Day. We have a couple
Right.
spots left for that one. And then Belize, we also have a few spots. I'm in Michigan, and we have quite a big following in West Michigan. That's not where everybody comes from, but we have a pretty large group, and no one wants to be in Michigan in February. It's the shortest, longest month. It's cold, it's icy, it's bitter. So you can join us in all of those. They're all inclusive. We have a private chef, we have a photographer that's a portrait photographer. We bought some flying dresses a few years to take people to, we stay in beautiful houses on beautiful locations. So we spend an afternoon. These trains are like insane. I don't know if you've ever seen them online. And if you get a big wing, it looks like it could be a parachute. So it's really like a lovely moment of women connecting and holding each other's trains and telling each other their butts look cute. And we're going to try to do it in the Northern Lights, like Silhouette, Iceland, and then on the beach in Belize. So,
Yeah, and we have
but
it.
we do did. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we have it on the screen for those that are watching
Yeah,
live.
those are where we've been. Yeah, in
Yeah,
a
they
lot
are
of
beautiful,
places.
beautiful locations, so relaxing, and the group is very intimate, and it
Yes,
looks like they're
10 to
friends that
12. Yep.
right, yeah,
Yeah, we say come as strangers, leave as friends. Everybody's super nervous when they get there, but after the first dinner, that all goes away. It's really lovely. That's like my favorite moment, watching everybody connect. And I say that A lot of times it's easier to be vulnerable with a stranger because they don't know anything about you. They don't have this container or box that they have put
Mm.
you in your relationship over the past few years. And most people that show up to a retreat like this are very like-minded, and so it's fun. It's really nice.
Yeah, it is beautiful. If y'all are watching, you see these different locations. And for those that are just listening, where is this website? What is this website where they can find out more information?
Yes, yourwanderingroots.com. We have itineraries on all of the retreat pages if you want to see if one feels more like you than the other. And then there's different price points for different rooms. If you'd rather save some money and you don't mind sharing a room, or if you want the true bougie experience, you want your own bedroom and your own ensuite bathroom, we have all kinds of choices. So
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. So there's something for everyone,
Mhm.
if you're on a budget, but you still want to take care of yourself. And, even if you're not about reinventing yourself and you just want some time away to
Yeah,
meet some new people, just this is an amazing opportunity to do that. These pictures are just so, so beautiful.
well, professional photographer. She takes your picture the whole time. We initially wanted everybody to be able to like truly disconnect and leave their phones at home if they wanted to, but it turned out to be this thing of like people want to have their picture taken in a certain place, or maybe they came with their mom and they would rather have it's just really nice. We get a huge gallery when everybody gets home, and so yeah.
I love it. I love it. It was beautiful. And I saw your other social handles. You have a Facebook um, page
Yes.
as well, Your Wandering Roots. And then also your Instagram is Your Wandering Roots. So be sure to put the your in it. Your, Your
Yes.
Wandering Roots. Because otherwise you may end up somewhere else.
It's a little
Where-
confusing, I know. Yeah.
no, that's okay. I'm glad we're seeing it though, but it's here on the screen at Your
Mhm.
Wandering Roots. And now
Yeah.
tell me about the name. How did you come up with the name?
Such a crazy story, but I started the year before I started Wandering Roots. I started a landscape business with my husband, and his logo is a red cedar tree with the roots coming down. And so I wanted it to have roots in it in some capacity because it was the jumping off point, but also I find that yoga is very grounding, like your
Mhm.
roots and like whatever. And then the traveling part of we would like take yoga all over the world is the wandering. But I was just thinking about that in some capacity, but I heard the name on my mat one day in yoga before I hosted my first retreat. So yeah,
Wow.
it's like one of those like true like downloads from the universe. I haven't had
Right.
many, but I've had a couple. So.
Wow, I love it. Your Wandering Roots. I absolutely love it. And one of the things that kind of, I can see, as I'm thinking about the words put together, it's like these wandering roots, being traveling all over, no matter where you go, that's where you can be rooted. And
Totally.
as you're continuing to grow in all of these different places and all of these different spaces, you're gaining all these new experiences and all of these new conversations with people that you've never met before. All of this is new and continuing to nurture you as a person. And
Yeah,
as you continue to be nurtured as a person, you continue to grow and get stronger in your roots, which build such a solid foundation for you in your future.
totally. It's a coming back to yourself always, right? It doesn't matter where you go, but it's a coming back to you. So
Yes, absolutely. I love it. So again, we have the socials for following you on Facebook and on Instagram, your website, Your Wandering Roots. Anyone interested in just absolutely decompressing and being a part of a community of women that truly love and care for one another along their entrepreneurial journey, or if there is it strictly for business women, or is it not for business women, or
nope.
who are people?
Just women in general. We get a lot of women in their 30s, 40s, 50s need a break from their roles and responsibilities, that mostly the raising of children and the big it's being in the depths of building their career. And then we get a lot of women in their 60s and 70s that either are their partners don't want to travel. They just got their kids out of their house and they're finally thinking about themselves. They're newly retired, newly divorced sometimes. So those are my favorite. Those women's are ready to like grab life by the balls and squeeze everything out of it. They're like finally waking up to like, I deserve this and I'm going after it. So
Yes, that is
mhm.
great. That is so great. And it must be just so amazing to watch that unfold.
It is. You really watch them transform. They like come into their own and change in a week. It's beautiful.
Wow, that's so fantastic. So, Anna, is there a question that I should have asked you that I didn't ask?
Oof. No, you asked a lot of good questions. No one's ever asked me how I came up with my name, so that was kind of cool. No, I think you asked a lot of great questions. It was lovely talking to you.
All right. Well, it has been great getting to know you as well. I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation back in the green
Yeah.
room where in our little space and getting to know you better. This has been really, really wonderful. And I really am so grateful that you provide this service for women as a way for them to reinvent themselves or discover themselves, maybe
Yeah.
even for the first time, you know.
Yeah.
I remember when I was relocating from Wisconsin, so I'm a Midwestern girl too.
Okay.
So I relocated from Wisconsin to Georgia, and it was the first time I didn't have my children with me. And so it was the first time I was able to ask the question, who am I without my
Yeah.
children, without my job making these demands on me, without a, you know, a significant other in my life?
Yeah.
Who am I and what do I like?
Yeah.
And I literally had to
Powerful.
sit with that. And I'm just like, okay.
At our first meal together on every retreat, we have everybody introduce themselves, and then we have the second round. We make everybody go around and say 3 things they love about themselves, and that starts to get to the person, like just as a being, not all the roles and responsibility, just who you are, your values. Like that's
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. I'll bet that is so fun.
yeah.
Very cool. Well, I can't wait to learn more and experience, you know, all the different things that you have to offer. So thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you for doing what you do. Anna, you were made for something great. So go and be awesome.
Thank you.